I had a feeling that this week I'd be making a video about TFC signing a forward. Unfortunately, it's not a video about the guy whose name is on the back of this jersey. But sometimes newer is better, as Toronto FC have just signed Spanish forward/winger Jesus Jimenez on a 3-year contract with an option for a 4th year. Jimenez is a 28-year-old striker/left winger who, after starting his career off in the Tercera division and then earning promotion with Talavera to the Segunda division, moved to the Polish Ekstraklasa, where he has played for the past 4 years. He's been a consistent goal-scoring threat of Gornik Zabrze in the Polish Ekstraklasa, which is the top flight of Polish football, scoring 12 goals each of the past 2 seasons, and this year has 8 goals in 19 appearances so far. Unlike TFC's recent European signings, he is actually 6 feet tall, so being able to play forward and being a taller physical presence in the box at striker is actually a viable option with him, which is nice because it's something we haven't seen recently. By the looks of it, Jimenez will not be a designated player, which fits. And he is coming in, looks like, I don't think he'll be playing the left side because, well, maybe he will early on before Insigne shows up, but with Insigne and Schaffelberg and Jadon Nelson, the left wing position is a little crowded at TFC right now. And in striker, with Josie Altidore and Patrick Mullins and Dom Dwyer all recently leaving, we are a little light at the striker position. So it feels like Jimenez is being brought in as a pure striker and not the left wing role that he has played a little more often in the Ekstraklasa, but also he is able to play both the wing and a striker. So he's one of those utility guys that you can kind of move around based off of where you need him. Now, coming from the Polish league, this is one of those leagues in Europe where guys from these leagues come into MLS, semi-regularly, and it's really a wild card as to how they'll do. He could be a great scorer in MLS, scoring at or above the rate that he was scoring in the Polish league, or he could have trouble kind of fitting into the MLS game, and he may not be as strong as a scorer, but he'll probably be good enough to score a couple of goals at the very minimum. And with TFC, honestly, after what happened to our strikers last season, a couple of goals is an improvement. And with Ayo Akinola also being back and healthy this year, a Akinola Jimenez lineup up top, that actually is, should be solid options in Major League Soccer. Interestingly, it looks like TFC is, for the most part this season, going to be starting off without a true designated player striker, as Jimenez doesn't look like a designated player. He's probably a TAM. Well, TAM doesn't exist anymore, but he's a extended GAM player. And then Ayo Akinola obviously is on the new U22 player initiative signing, so he's making a bit more money than a usual player, but doesn't all count towards the salary cap. MLS roster rules are more of a mess than ever nowadays. But it seems like TFC is going with 2 higher paid non-designated player strikers up top, with Akinola and Jimenez. Probably going to keep the 3 front formation with the wingers that they had played the last 2 seasons. And then you're using your designated player spots on Insigne, who's most likely going to play the left side, Pozuelo, who we know is a cam, and Salcedo, who is a center back, unless Salcedo gets bought down, in which case they might bring in someone else as a designated player in an attacking position. Now, honestly, that makes sense because we saw with Akinola that you don't need to have a designated player striker for a guy to be consistently scoring in Major League Soccer, and if Akinola didn't get hurt last season, that would have worked fine for TFC. So adding Jimenez, this is a guy who, if he performs at about the same level as Ayo Akinola, we're laughing. This is an incredible signing if he can do that. The problem is, we just don't really know very much. He's solid in Poland, he was solid in the Segunda division, but nothing really above it. And so really, I think MLS is a bit of a step up from the Polish league. So this is his big challenge so far coming in. So it's going to be interesting to see if Jimenez continues to, score, if he can keep scoring at the 10 to 12 goal a season pace that he has been the past few years in Poland. That's amazing. But he's one of these players who it's absolutely, we kind of have to reserve our judgment until we see him with the team, because he's just kind of an unknown. Because he doesn't have the top 6 league experience or like the top end European league experience that, is an indicator of a player who's going to perform very well in MLS. He's kind of one of those guys who's in one of those middling European leagues, and so one of those guys who is like, he could be great in MLS, he could not be great in MLS. So completely dark horse striker signing, which isn't a bad thing. That can turn out just fine. And Ayo Akinola is going to be our main striker this season, so it's not like we're bringing this guy in with the expectation of, oh, you're going to be our #1 starting striker, you need to perform or nothing's happening. No, we have Ayo Akinola for that. He is the better insurance than any insurance we'd had before, hopefully. And really, all he has to do is be a little bit better than Patrick Mullins, which shouldn't be that hard. Also, we still have Pablo Piatti. Alejandro Pozuelo performs well when he has Spanish buddies, so maybe Jesus Jimenez is a bit of a playing to Pozuelo move, is, bringing in a Spanish player that Pozuelo can, mesh with on the pitch, hopefully. So this may also be a move where he might form a fantastic partnership with Pozuelo just based off of the fact that they're both Spanish and so can yell at each other in Spanish. So that is another possibility of a reasoning of why this move was made. But yeah, I'm going to be cautiously optimistic about this transfer until we see him fully playing in Toronto FC, because I've been wrong before, but I've also been right before. So I'm not going to go and say, oh, this is going to be great or oh, this is going to be bad until, I see how he meshes with the team and how he can perform at the Major League Soccer level. So that is for this video. As always, if you'd like to hit like, if you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, link is down below in the description, and I will see you next time.